to Terry Sewell.
Person who needs no introduction, none other than Congressman Jim Clyburn.
Thank you very much, Terry. I was thinking a couple of days ago, I heard a reporter ask or say to someone, thank you so much for the favor of your time. And I thought about that word favor as opposed to freedom. The fact of the matter is, what we seem to be getting from our friends on the other side of the aisle are a lot of favors and very little freedom. I can remember when my parents first got the right to cast an effective vote. It may sound strange. I remember that. Because up until I was 8 years old in South Carolina, the Democratic primary was a white-only private club, which meant that the majority of the citizens of that state could not cast an effective vote. You were free to vote in the general election, but the only meaningful election at that time was the Democratic primary. And so you can imagine what it was like in my household when my parents first got the right to vote. We thought that it was a battle that once won will never be lost. But what happened after the institution of Jim Crow, a lot of creative devices came online that made the vote ineffective for those who were people of color. And what we see today is a repetition of those creative devices. How do you make it felonious to assist someone with a ballot? It is beyond me that our colleagues cannot see the fallacy in that and what a threat that is to the freedoms that we hold dear. There's nothing more fundamental to the freedoms of a democracy than the right to cast a fair, unfettered, effective vote. I also remember when I first met John Lewis. We were 19-year-old college students fighting, as he would often say, to get off the back of the bus into voting lines, into voting precincts, and to become full-fledged citizens in this great society. But as it happened, 13 years after the Civil War, what has happened today is very reminiscent of us using creative devices to make the vote ineffective, if at all. This bill is designed to do exactly what the United States Supreme Court says we should do, and that is bring forth formula by which we can create a voting rights law that will be fair and effective. We've done exactly what the Supreme Court asked us to do, and we've introduced that bill now, this time for the 5th time. 3 times it's been filibustered in the House, 1 time filibustered in the Senate, and 1 time it died in the House. This is the 5th time attempting to do what the Supreme Court said should be done, but our colleagues on the other side of the aisle see it differently. I would hope that with the introduction of this bill, that they will find it within themselves to allow a vote on the floor of the House. You're not asking anybody to vote for it. Just put it on the floor so that we can cast a fair, unfettered, effective vote. And we'd be glad, unlike the other side, we'd be glad to live by the results. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, sir.